Do you like to read magazines?
Yes, I like to read magazines. In the past, I used to read magazines quite often. I would probably buy several magazines a week. But then, after I got high-speed internet, I got all the info and articles that I wanted to read. But I still like to read magazines on occasion. There is a small store close to my house where I can get the latest magazines.
What type of magazines do you like to read?
I like to read fitness magazines, and I like to read lifestyle magazines. I really like to read fitness magazines because there I can get inspired to get even more fit. I can also get a lot of healthy recipes from them as well. I also like to read lifestyle magazines because you can read a lot of interesting articles in them.
Do you prefer magazines to newspapers?
I don't know what to say there. I think both have their own advantages. From newspaper I can get information about the world, but from magazines I get interesting info and I get entertainment to a certain extent. If I had to choose between the two, I would choose newspapers because the news about the world is more important to me.
Is there a magazine that you would like to read with your friends?
There was a magazine that was dedicated to men's fashion and that was also publishing stuff that was funny. It was a section dedicated to humor. You might think that they had cheesy humor, but jokes were actually really good. Me and my friends would read the jokes to each other and we would try to outdo one another at telling them.
What kind of pictures do you like to see in the magazines?
I like to see good pictures in magazines. I know that that's a simple answer, but what I mean by that, I like to see pictures that have a good lighting, that have a good definition. When I'm looking at pictures of people, I like to see them striking a pose. I also like to see pictures of landscapes, of untouched nature, so to speak. I am now imagining a picture of green fields with blue skies.
You will have 60 seconds to prepare, and then you will speak for between 60 to 120 seconds. Start speaking now.
I went with a friend of mine. You could say that this was the first time I went to theater. Before that, I went to theater several times, but it was for plays that were for children. So I don't know if I can say that I went to theater. It was simple entertainment for children. So I would say the last time I went was the first time I actually went to theater. We saw a play that was a reinterpretation of Shakespeare's Hamlet. But it's Hamlet which took place in my local region. What I mean by that is that the plot of the Hamlet would be the same, but they showed how it would develop in the culture in which I was born. I would say that the actors were amazing. They were not just good. What I really like about them is the range of the emotions that they show. They express the emotions perfectly and they said their lines really well. I would definitely go to see that play again. The reason why I don't go to see it for the second time was because all the later performances were pretty much sold out. I don't think I will see this theater play again because the actors will probably not come again to my city.
Which do you think is better, going to theater or to the movie theater?
I think that it's better to go to the theater. Even though I went to the theater only once, I must say that I was really impressed by the actors. They did an amazing job. They were better than Hollywood stars, in my opinion. I think that the theater is about art and performance, while movies are about entertainment. They make the movies entertaining. They don't make them deep, and the majority of movies are not works of art. Again, I know I'm speaking from just one experience, but I believe my statements to be true.
What are the advantages that theaters have over movies?
I think that they give more freedom to the actors. I think that they can have more depth in their performance. They are allowed to bring more to the roles they play, while the actors in the movies have been limited. They aren't given more freedom. What I mean by that is they are not allowed to be artists, they have to be entertainers.
Are theater plays a higher form of art when compared to the movies?
Yes, I think that they absolutely are. Like I repeated several times already, the theater plays impress us because they are written by artists and they are performed by artists, which is more important in my opinion. Movies can of course be considered art, but I would say that this is an exception for movies rather than a rule.
Certain theater plays are mandatory reading in schools. Should movies be assigned as mandatory in schools? That they have to be seen?
I think there is a good reason why theater plays are mandatory readings in schools. Like I said, they are a higher form of art. But I think that also movies can be art sometimes, and I think that some movies should definitely be mandatory. I can think of 5 movies that I think everybody should see. They are movies that carry important messages within themselves. They are the movies that make you think and reflect.
Do you think that musical versions of theater plays can add something to the writing and the performance?
Well, I think that they can be more entertaining, but I think it can add more emotion. Now, what I mean by that is that music can add a new layer. Music can represent in an amazing way certain emotions. So, let's say that there is a scene where the main theme is happiness, the happiness of the character. A jolly melody can enhance that scene, so to speak.